Crypto. All the crypto news in one place.
First, Charles Schwab, one of the most conservative, boomer-coded brokerages on the planet. I mean, their name's Charles Schwab. How much more boomer can you get? They just opened up Bitcoin trading to their entire client base. This is a brokerage with over $11 trillion in client assets, managed by people who generally treat volatility the same way that they treat raw seafood, with fear and suspicion.
Jerome Powell's term ends in May 2026, and right now, the front-runner to replace him is Kevin Hassett. According to prediction markets, Hassett has a 72% chance of taking the hot seat, and he's what you might call an inflation dove. He's publicly stated that if he were at the helm, he would be cutting rates aggressively right now.
The SEC gives DTCC, the $100 trillion backbone of U.S. markets, the okay to tokenize stocks on the blockchain. This is insanely big news. These stories, by the way, Chainlink are going to pump on this? Probably not. Anyway, this is insanely big news. Seriously, one of the biggest clearinghouses in the world. They have the okay to tokenize stocks onto the blockchain.
In addition to that, okay, this one's important. Congress urges SEC Chair Atkins to allow Bitcoin and crypto in 401k accounts immediately in a brand new letter. And this would allow basically 90 million Americans that have 401ks, people like you and me, to actually diversify our assets a lot easier into Bitcoin ETFs and regulated crypto products, aka crypto spot ETFs, XRP, Solana, HBAR, whatever that is.
Okay, this week, SEC Chair Paul Atkins, the anti-Gensler, said this. This is a direct quote I'm going to give you. You ready for this? All U.S. markets will be on-chain within 2 years.
Wow.
He used the term on-chain. On-chain.
He doesn't mean 100% of the markets, but there will be an instantiation of all U.S. markets on-chain within 2 years, which is a very short amount of time.
But for us, the idea is like we will start with public stock, and then we think that you can tokenize anything really, not just stocks. You can, it can be private stock, it can be art, it can be real estate, whatever you want to think of.
Then you have the unthinkable. Vanguard. These guys are absolutely massive, about $11 trillion in assets. They refused to list Bitcoin ETFs famously. We're never going to list Bitcoin ETFs. The previous CEO said it's not a store of value. Well, things have changed. That CEO got fired after they watched BlackRock make gargantuan sums of money with their Bitcoin ETF. They said, you're an idiot. Get the fuck out. We're hiring a new guy. Vanguard's now preparing to offer crypto access to more than 50 million brokerage customers. That's crazy.
Schwab lets U.S. creators receive payouts in PayPal's PYUSD stablecoin as the platform integrates crypto payment options per Fortune. You can't tell me that PYUSD is not the worst name for a stablecoin in the history of stablecoins. Crypto mogul Kwon sentenced to 15 years in prison for fraud. I saw a report that this was the largest fraud sentence in the history of crypto, and I was like, SBF, bro. Yeah, 25 years, right? But co-founder of Singapore-based Terraform Labs is given more jail time by U.S. judge than prosecutors sought. So I think he also has cases open in a number of other jurisdictions.
Also, Gemini. Gemini announced they're adding support for RLUSD on the XRPL, bringing near instant settlement and lower fees. Smart move by them. People that hold XRP are going to want to use RLUSD, and they will continue to do so. It just is what it is. Smart move by them.
Tax evaders, you're going to get caught. I don't work for the IRS. They don't pay me, although DMs are open. I'm just kidding. But 40% of Canadian crypto users are flagged for tax evasion risk. Canadian Tax Authority reveals. I'm not a Canadian, but I'm just looking out for my Canucks.
Anytime you go back and you look and you say, when did inflation spike? It spikes with oil. It spikes with energy. You go back to 2022, gas was $5 a gallon post the Ukraine-Russia war starting. Oil spiked to $120 a barrel. That let us off that inflationary spiral.
Anyway, additionally to this recent rate cut, let's remember that on December 1st, Federal Reserve officially ended quantitative tightening, or QT. QT is essentially the opposite of quantitative easing, or QE. QE is when central bank or Federal Reserve buys bonds and other assets like mortgage-backed securities to inject money into the economy. QT is when central bank reduces its balance sheet by letting the bonds or securities mature without reinvesting or sell bonds or other assets outright to pull the liquidity out of the economy.
However, as a reminder, we are at an all-time high for the US M2 money supply. See this right here? This would be 11th December 2025. And the money supply is $22.298 trillion. That's a lot. That's the most money supply we've ever had in the history of money supply in the United States.
And so those are the 3 times, one of which was pretty much coming at the end of that 2008 financial collapse. And the secondary, or the last one, coming in right at the end of COVID collapse as well. So the interesting thing about these last 4, 2 of which were at major declines. The other 2 were during uptrends, okay? And then right now we're obviously in an uptrend as well.
Shows the correlation between global M2 money supply, that is, the amount of cash sloshing around the world economy, and the price of Bitcoin. Historically, Bitcoin moves with global liquidity. In fact, it has a 0.94 correlation with global liquidity over the long term. It is the most sensitive asset to monetary expansion. When the money supply goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When the money supply contracts, Bitcoin struggles.
I don't believe this is a coincidence, because every single bull market from Bitcoin, from the exact low to the exact bull market high, has been 1,064 days here. Here you can see exactly from the low, exactly to the high. Exactly from the low, exactly to the high. 1,064 days every single time for the last 3 cycles. And also in every single bear market, from the exact high to the exact low here, it was 364 days. Then in the 2022/2023 bear market, it was also exactly 364 days till the exact bear market bottom.
I anticipate that over the next couple of days, we're going to bottom out somewhere in this zone and rally right back up to here, and we'll be testing 94,000 and this longer-term downtrend at the exact same time, and then this is going to be a really key decision point, because if we do end up breaking here and going to the top of the channel, then that sends us up here towards $100,000 sometime in about a week.
Because honestly, we're creating this ascending triangle, and whenever we see the breakout outside of this pattern, it could be a very interesting trade to be taking here. So Bitcoin is, of course, being a little bit more weaker in the last period in the market. We are, of course, seeing that for the first time in basically about 3.5 to 4 years. We have seen the super trend on the weekly time frame flip bearish. And yeah, the last time this happened was also the beginning of the Bitcoin bear market.
So, did you enjoy the zap? Let me know in the comments.